All right, well, welcome to the Cub Scout Den Camp Promotions Plan 2020. My name is Ryan Creesh. I'm the staff advisor to Stephen Brown, our Camp Promotions Chairman for the President Ford Field Service Council. I will turn it over to Steve.
Hi, I'm Stephen Brown, as Ryan said. Thank you very much for calling in on Sunday. What a gorgeous day outside. So what I want to do is, our agenda is basically laid out here, where we're going to go over our plan, the roles and what you need to do to complete what we're asking you to do, what the targets are, what your resources are while you're trying to accomplish these roles. The role play, kind of what we were looking for is as far as a script when you talk to the packs, and then the report back to us and any questions or answers. Basically, our plan is on the next slide, where we have actually identified different packs in each of the districts that have a large enough pack that actually needs, that have had less than great participation. In each one of the areas, Eagle Spirit, Lakeshore, Northern Lights, Scenic Trails, and Timber Trails, we've identified some packs from each one of these areas, and we also identified the packs that aren't, those packs that aren't really attending as much as they should. So, or at least we would hope that they are. So what we're talking about is each one of these packs that are identified in this first paragraph adds up to 1,346 youth. And you can see the breakdown in each area. And currently, they only have 96 youth attending summer camp or day camp, which is 7%, pretty low. What we'd like to do is basically visit those particular packs to try to get some word of mouth going, and visit the dens so that they have a specific area that, so that it's addressed to them specifically versus seeing the whole den at one time. Because if you talk to the entire den at this, or the whole pack, excuse me, you're going to try to get everybody at the same time. There's kids all over the place. We thought that it'd be a lot easier if you focused on dens and try to get some participation within the dens, and just explain to them what Cub Scout camping, resident camping is like. Personally, I had an absolute blast when I was there with my son for as many years as I went. And what we want you to do is to try to convey that to the different dens, because a lot of these guys have never had that experience, judging from our numbers. So if we go to the next slide, what we're looking for is to pick.
And hey, Steve, before you move on, the one thing to highlight is that if we were to increase that participation just to 29% of those scouts, that's a total of 400 new kids going to summer camp this summer, just out of those units. So that's a big thing right there.
It's a huge jump. And I think that they'd really, the thing is once they get to summer camp, I think they'd really appreciate it, and they'll tell their friends. So what we're asking to do is to pick one or two packs to work on, and contact the unit leaders and identify the den leaders, because we really think that it'd be better if we attack this on the den level versus the pack level. And what that will take is identifying when each of the dens meet and where, and then talk to the den leaders and see if you can work in, we're not talking the entire time, but we're only talking a small educational, so that they can see what's available. And we've given you a script. Just review that with the parents and show them the materials that you'll be provided with. And the different resources you've got are the videos, the leader books, some handouts, and then some of the website addresses if they have any questions. And then there's also a flash drive that you'll have. Basically, we want you to conduct these educationals with the parents, and if possible, so that they're not distracted by the kids, but talk to them about whatever age-appropriate type of camp there would be, whether it be day camp or resident camp for Webelos or resident camp for Cub Scouts. And then try to get them to determine when they would be best to attend camp. Just see if you can identify a parent from each one of the dens and have them as your contact so that we can find out, you know, what is it that they want to do, what do they need in order to attend camp, and then follow up with a unit assessment. In other words, get some sort of feedback from them of what it is that's either keeping them from camp or how we can help them better attend camp. And once you get the parent recruited, you would be their liaison, and then ultimately us, if there were any questions or barriers for them attending. So basically, we're looking for you to be the coach to help them get to camp, because we really need to have more boys at camp. Our target is to basically, what we said earlier, increase the number of scouts attending and find a parent for each one of the dens that's going to be able to be the head resource so that you've got a contact. What you'll need to do during the meeting is collect the contact information so you can meet them or talk to them after in a follow-up and help them with any other issues. And then once you've got that, submit to us some sort of assessment so you know you can tell us if there's any interest, what kind of interest there is, what the barriers to entry are, that sort of thing. And that's what we're looking for so that we can judge, you know, what it is that we need to help them get their boys to camp and them as well. Because if you can get the leaders there, they're going to have a blast. They're going to have a good time, and the boys will definitely have a great time. The support that we have here, there's lots of different types of support they can get online. There's the video that shows camp if they're asking for some sort of information. There's the parent handbook. There's a leader's guidebook, which you should be able to present to each one of the people attending this meeting. There's lots of there's websites that are available. There's the flash drive that you will have for any other resources, and then the unit assessment, which we would like you to fill out so that we've got an idea of how successful this type of attack is. Because we're looking to find out the best way to go at this. And we think if we can get a large number of these units together, I think word of mouth will definitely filter around so that they'll see how fun camp is, because it is. The packets that will be available to you, some of you have already received them. It's a letter from the Michigan Crossroads Council from the promotion chair. Then there's the script that we're talking about when you're having your parents' educational, the parent educational. The 2019 report card, basically how the camp did last year, and some of the things that we've heard in the past are, you know, there's been issues on food or whatever. You can see that there's been great improvements over the past couple years. Then there's the agenda, which is the MCC promotion, and then summer camp action report, flyers for resident camping, and you can see all the different things here, the day camp, and then also the flash drive. But we're going to give out the leader guides for the Betty Ford Adventure Land. That's probably what we're going to use or have you use as the syllabus, so to speak, or something to talk to the parents about and show them what camp's like. So what we wanted to do is talk over some of the things that you may want to chat about when you are talking to these parents because there's a lot of people that have never been to camp. Judging from these numbers here, they have no experience. They really don't know what to expect. And I can tell you, as when I was a first-time parent going up to camp, I had been to Gerber, but you know, when you go up with your son to Cub Scouts, you really don't know what you're walking into, and it's really nice to have somebody give you a kind of a primer on what to expect and what not to have to expect. So what we did is we put together kind of a role-playing presentation, and then you can use some of these slides if you wanted to show them what it's like as far as the camp goes.
Hey,
So
Steve,
next slide.
can I jump in just real quick? I just want to highlight this a little bit. So the blue packets were provided by the MCC, and that agenda, the camp promotions agenda, is different from the agenda that Stephen is prescribing. So just wanted to make sure everybody's aware of that, because we don't want you to get mixed up on what we're asking you to do. So just make sure to look at that. If the unit resists you from allowing to go down to the den level, then the summer camp agenda that the MCC provided is probably sufficient to do at a PAC meeting or what have you. But I just wanted everybody to know that some of those materials in that blue zippered bag are actually, they're from the MCC. So.
Okay. So what we were talking about is a kind of a role playing, so you get a general idea of what you should talk to the parents about. And one of them is, in this case, it's the Gerber Cub Scout Adventure, the Betty Ford Adventureland, which what we would like you to do is basically contact the den leaders and make sure that, you know, you've got the time and the meeting location correct. Get there a little early and have a chance to talk with the den leader or whoever you might be able to pick out of the crowd that's interested in going to camp, and maybe you can use them as the contact. You know, if you can get contact information before, then you don't have to leave everything to the end. And then see if you can figure out what it is that may be holding them back from attending. Maybe they just never have been, or it's been a long time. You know, is it money? Is it vacation? Is it the registration? Who knows? If you can judge what it is that it could be, that would be really helpful. So you'll know when the assessment comes that you can actually talk to them. But when you finally get the parents together, just talk to them. And this is pretty intuitive as far as it goes, but introduce yourself, tell them what it is how you are involved with scouting, and tell them, you know, if you've been to Cub Scout, and I hope that most of you have been to Cub Scout day camp or the camp in general, and just give them an idea of what you saw when you were there, what to expect, and then ask them if anybody's attended camp with their child and see what their experiences are, so that, you know, you're not the only one talking about things. You can get some feedback from them. Then we suggest that you hand out the Leader's Guidebook, and that's the Betty Ford Adventureland Leader's Guidebook from 2020. One of the things that we talked about at the very beginning was some people don't know where it is, and so if you give them the guidebook, you can use this as kind of the things to go through page by page if you want to, just to give them an idea of some of the events, some of the areas that are available for them. And one of the things on the guidebook is the very last page, it actually shows the location of the Gerber Scout Reservation and the Betty Ford Adventureland, and it kind of shows them where everything is in respect to, you know, the campground and the parking areas and all that sort of stuff. So they've got a general idea of what to expect there. And then, of course, if you want to, you can talk over the mission of what Gerber is and the Betty Ford Adventureland. Talk about the highlights of the actual camp that has been around from the 50s. And in 1998, we formed the Betty Ford Adventureland. And then, so in 2013, it was dedicated to Betty Ford. And then on page 5, there's also contact info. So if they have questions and they've got this book with them, they can see there's contact info if they have questions as far as, you know, if you can't answer it, they can always contact me or Ryan or the Scout office if they run across any issues. And one of the other things is walk them through the book. You don't have to stop on every one of the program areas, but if you hit some of the ones that, if you remember your favorites are and everything like that, you can actually talk about Bathe the Blue Ox or Wagons On, whatever, and some of the areas that would be exciting to them and or their kids. I mean, the Lost Ship, you can tell them, you know, it's a huge ship that's out in the middle of the woods where they have the campfires, the opening or closing fire bowls, where the staff all get together, and it's a lot of fun. They have skits and things like that. There's Crockett's Challenge, which is the shooting range, and basically walk them through what they might expect. And of course, the Leader's Guidebook actually has photographs of some of the areas, so you've got a chance to kind of, you know, say this is the waterfront, this is the Huckman area where you can get on a raft that's just like the one in the UP that is in the National Park Service, and we put in Kitchit, I can't even say it. It's basically the Palms Book State Park. That's the big raft that you can pull yourself across on and pull all the way back. Well, we've got a raft to do the same thing. Plus they've got canoes and there's fishing. There's all sorts of things going on. And so just kind of point out some of the things that might get their interest and see what they're interested in. Uncharted Lands and Fort Acala are also some of the things that we talk about. And like I say, if they have any questions about that, you know, see if you can answer their questions on that area. So basically walk through the areas, explain to them that there's, you know, on top of these program areas, there's all sorts of things going on in the meantime. And there's, you know, the color groups, the den leaders, it's not like they have to lead the kids back and forth. Our staff takes care of everything. I mean, they're going to get you up in the morning. They're going to put you to bed at night. They're going to keep you active and occupied the whole time and engaged. They are fabulous. They've done well over the many years that they've been there, and the kids' color groups really bond. It's pretty amazing. You can talk to them that there's really nothing to worry about once they get there. And the activities are going to keep them busy. As far as accommodations go, you can tell them that, you know, you can use this and say, Scouts, there's 5 in a tent, parents are 2 in a tent, and they're basically, the Scouts are in the center and the adults are around the outside. And everybody's got a bed and a mattress, and basically you just bring your clothes and get ready to have fun. Then as you walk through the Leader Guidebook, you can talk to them about the different activities. There's a couple schedules that the boys would be involved in, and the adults for that matter, or the 12-year-olds. And it also talks about the Cubs and then the Weeblos, as far as, you know, whether it's explain to them the different experiences, whether it's a 4-day or a 3-day experience. And then you can tell them as the kids get older, they'll stay longer, but it's not a week-long event. It's part of a week. And there are a lot of different opportunities and choices as far as dates, because they try to accommodate anybody who's got times where they can't make it versus times that they can. So it's kind of nice. And then at this point, you're going to get to a point where they're going to have a lot of questions, I would think. I would stop and just see if there's any questions that they need to run down. And this is basically about the program. Talk to them about the program and see if there's any questions. Answer any questions. If you have any ones that you can't answer, I'm more than happy to talk to you about it. Ryan's happy to talk about it. So if you need to let us know, we can try to help you out there.
The nice thing is that
on the next couple pages. Yeah, go ahead, Ryan.
I was going to say the nice thing is at that point, you're right at the point where you're at page 15 through 18, where a lot of the questions that they're probably going to answer or ask are sitting right there in those 4 pages. So you can point a lot of that out. So.
Yeah, and the thing is that there's also web links as well that they can go to just to reinforce some of the questions that they have. One of the things that that actually Ryan put on here was some of the information that came off the links is what it is that they experienced over a period of time. I mean, one of the graphs here they have is positive parents, percent of parents who noticed an effect of summer camp experience, 81%. I'm surprised it's not higher, but you know, it's amazing. The boys really get an experience that they love. I remember my son on the very first time we went up to Cubs camp, we got done with the waterfront. He got out and he was so excited. He said, "When can we go back?" I mean, it was that amazing, and it really affected me. I mean, on how much fun the kids were having, and the adults have fun too because they're 12-year-olds. They get to enjoy it as well. It's not like they have to be leaders and be in charge of everything. This is a really easy way to get into the early part of scouting programs. But there's lots of links that give you some statistics if you want to use that to show them some of the things that the boys actually have learned or what they experienced. And that's what these links are for. Some of the other things that you can talk about is the food, the meals are provided, and last year the quality of the food got a 90%, which is fantastic, and quantity. You can also tell them about the t-shirts that they're going to tie-dye if they bring a t-shirt up, or if they want to order one, they have them at camp for you, and photos, which is kind of nice. I mean, you don't think much about it when you're there, but you know, when you get a group picture and 15 years later, your kid's in college or graduated and doing something at a job, looking back at these pictures is just amazing to see how much they've matured over the period of time from when they were a first-year Cub. It's pretty neat. The other thing, and then open it up to any more questions that they may have. And then you can also talk about seeing what other groups, for example, if there's a handout that we've got of all the dates, and this is kind of a little shot here, of all the dates that are available for the different camps. So if you're interested or if they're interested in this, this is when you can talk to the den and say, who wants to attend? When do you want to attend? What's the best time to do it? Identify somebody that's going to be able to be the coach and to help, and so that they can be the point of contact, because you want to have one point of contact versus the entire group. And then open up a dialogue that they can talk about, you know, everybody within the group. When are you thinking about going? When could we go? How do we sign up? Talk about, you know, exchange telephone numbers so that you got email addresses and telephone numbers with everybody, and find out if there's any other type of questions that we need to provide answers to. This paper will actually give you the summary of the times in one shot at all the different camps, not just Gerber or not just Betty Ford or whatever. This is the Cub Scouts for across the entire council. So this gives you a really good idea of when they can go. If you can point something out, that's great. It also will have, depending on the age of the groups, and sometimes you're going to get parents from more than one age group. If it's the younger kids, you can also talk about Cub Scout Day Camp. I mean, there are going to be 4 sessions in this area, and so consequently, there'll be a handout in there as well. If they're interested in going to a Cub Scout Day Camp session, those are fantastic. I mean, I've seen some of them. My son's been involved with many of them, and it's been a lot of fun to just go to these things. It's a smaller version, but at least it gets them involved with the Cub Scout program and able to do activities that have been tailored toward the age, and it's a lot of fun.
Hey,
So,
Steve, can I can I jump in and
a
just share
handout
something
you
real
can
quick?
look at. Sure. Yeah.
So again, you know, yes, this is very centric to Betty Ford Gerber reservation, but the point is that we're just using Gerber as an option, right? This is just a way for us to start the conversation. If the unit has all intent or excited to say, hey, let's go to D-Bar A, awesome, let's get them over there. If they say, hey, let's go check out Camp Tatanka, awesome, let's get them there. If they say, hey, we just really want to just start and get a taste for what summer camp programming is, then let's get them to day camp. The point being is that we're utilizing the leader guidebooks and the conversation about Gerber Scout Reservation, Betty Ford Adventureland as an example, right? And a thing to sell them, because in all honesty, we know that that's the closest location for majority of our units, and they're probably not going to travel more than 70, 75 miles from where they are to go to a summer camp experience. So
Yeah, like Ryan said, we're aiming at Betty Ford because we've got some of the materials for it, but if they go to camp, that's a win. There's no question about it. We want them to attend camp, and I think that they're going to really experience some of the best things to go to summer camp versus not going anywhere. So once you get this together, we need you to fill out a action report so that we know what our successes are, whether we need to have improvements, what it is that we need to do in order to focus to educate these parents and actually get these kids to camp. It's important that they're going to get experiences that they'll never forget. And, it will be fantastic in order to see this, but we really need you to tell us in this form what it is that you discovered. Why aren't they going? Is it just they didn't hear about it before? They've never had anybody that's their mentor? We need to find out from you guys what it is that we can do in order to get them to camp. If they're going to camp, fantastic. Write it down. Tell us when they're coming. But we still want to be able to follow up with them so that we can make sure that nobody stumbles at the finish line. We want to make sure that they get to camp. So this is the form that if you could provide back to us, we'd really appreciate it, and at least to give us an idea of whether this attack or this method is the best way to go at it. I mean, if you see something that might improve our reach out program, because we're trying not to target, well, we'd like to target everybody, but we know what our limitations are. And so we're trying to make sure that we're targeting people that were underutilized in previous years and have the best potential for increasing our attendance. So this is the website that Ryan's brought up, and some of the things that can be filled out so that you can do that and send it off to us. What do you want to add in here, Ryan?
The link, the form is actually on the flash drive under the unit assessment folder. So when you get your packet, it's on the flash drive. So that way you know where to find it. Otherwise, this webinar will be saved on our MCC YouTube page, so you can always go back and reference this link, which is basically michiganscouting.org/summer-camp-action-report, and that's how you can get to it.
Question is answers.
Yeah, this is Matt Fry. Ryan or Stephen, do you know, like, say, so PAC 131, do you know, has any of them signed up or not? Do you have any data on that before I walk in there?
I don't
No.
think anybody's signed up for that.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
I'll be right back.
Any other questions?
Yeah, this is Pete from PAC 11. When are you actually expecting us to meet with these people?
Well, we know that many packs and dens and scout troops have basically gone on hiatus for the next 3 weeks because the schools are shut down. But during this period of time, we're asking that you contact the dens, or actually the packs and then the dens, and try to find out when and where they will meet next, so that when they start up in 3 or 4 weeks, assuming that everything starts to clear up, that you'll have a chance. Excuse me?
Go ahead.
Well, that you'll have a chance, or at least know ahead of time, so that you'll have laid the groundwork so that when they start getting together, that you at least have a chance to, you're not starting from scratch to try to contact people.
Okay.
Because I don't know if the dens are Skyping together or whatever, they may end up doing that. You never know. I mean, people are pretty ingenious when it comes down to trying to keep things going. And if they do that, it may be your opportunity to just get in there and do a ring central to them, just like we're doing for you, and just get them involved so that they can see what's going on.
Well, and
I think that
I'll share with you, just so you guys all know, WebEx, which is an online web conferencing service, is offering free accounts for 90 days. So you could utilize WebEx as well, and same as, or Zoom or Skype or whatever, to do those in different formats.
I mean, it may be an opportunity for somebody to, to do these presentations while the dens are on hiatus because they can't get together, and this might be the way just to get everybody together and keep them informed. Any other questions? Ryan, you have anything more?
No, it's a pretty light crowd. Let's go through the line. Chris Anderson, do you have any questions?
No, I think I'm good.
All right, awesome. Jim Haynes.
Nope, I don't have any questions. All set.
Awesome. Matt Fry.
Good to go.
Awesome. Mickey Snyder.
I'm all set.
Awesome. Thanks, Mickey. Monica.
Yes, Brian. I do have a quick question. If the action report has listed if they're going to a resident camp, what do we do if they're just going to attend a day camp?
Then I don't have the form in front of me, but maybe just put it in the notes down at the bottom or something.
Okay.
Under
Because
one
I didn't
of the
see
action
anything
items.
for that, but if they just choose to do a day camp locally, we can just handwrite that in.
Yep, absolutely.
Perfect. Thank you.
And just so you all know, the day camp that we're running up in Traverse City is going to be joined with the Pit Spitters. The Pit Spitters is kind of like the Whitecaps down in Grand Rapids. It's the baseball team up there. We do a similar thing like we do downstate, where the kids come, they enjoy the game, get a hot dog, a pop, patch, and then at that evening, and they get to stay out on the field. Well, the very next day that happens, we're going to bring Adventure Point Mobile to their parking lot and run day camp in the parking lot with a 30-foot climbing tower and shooting ranges and all kinds of activities. So that's going to be a really cool day camp opportunity for our scouts. All right, Lucas Kelly, since you're unmuted, do you have any other questions?
No, I'm all good.
All right. Who's Galaxy S10?
It's probably me. I didn't have a chance to set up.
Oh, that's Pete.
It's
All right.
Pete, Pack 11. I'm good, thank you.
All right, thanks, Pete. Tom Strudeman, any questions?
Nope.
Awesome. Frank Cooley.
No, no questions. I'm all set.
Mr. Wetton.
Nope, I'm all set. Sounds great.
Cool. Steve, I don't have any questions either. All I have is thank you, everyone, for helping us move the ball forward. I think with getting, the opportunity to have 400 more kids going to resident camp is going to help us with a lot of retention issues that our council currently has. And if we can continue to, plug at this each year and just do a couple units, I think over the next 5-6 years, we could have some pretty substantial summer camp participation in our Cub Scouting programs. Steve, last words?
Well, I really would like to thank everybody for calling in. And what Ryan said, it definitely, summer camp will help with retentions, get the boys to come back, and get them really involved. It's a fantastic program, and we want to have everybody involved in it. So thank you very much for your help. And if you have any questions, let us know. And go and promote. Thank you very much. Have a great evening.